Like if I lived there and I walked by that area where, forget, Bourbon Street or wherever else it is, I forget. But like we would eat them all the time.
It's like, who doesn't like sugary pillows of dough? Like, come on, really?
I know, exactly. Who doesn't? And that's why we started the whole donut thing, because it was, just basically who doesn't love donuts, pretty much, you know?
Welcome, everybody, to Casting for Two, the podcast, as always, hosted by me, yours truly, Chris. Welcome, everybody, to episode 374 of the podcast, Casting for Two. You know, I haven't mentioned that, however you're listening to this on any major major podcast platform, feel free to just leave me a review. I'd really appreciate it. And but you know what? I'm not going to talk to. I'm the intro. Who cares? Because it's all about my guest for today. My guest is the absolutely stunning. She's a fitness guru, an entrepreneur, WWE superstar. We got Mandy Rose on the podcast today, and just a delight to chat with, and I'm so happy she could have fit me into her busy schedule, and just such a joy to chat with. But I'm done talking because we need to get into this episode, all right? So everybody sit back, relax, and Mandy, take it away.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good, thanks. Sorry, I couldn't figure out the Skype thing. I think it was I didn't have an internet connection or something, but is this okay? Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, no, I can hear you just fine. Yeah, it's all good.
Okay, good. All right, cool.
But so this is a pretty loose show where we can chat about anything and everything.
Okay.
But I am curious. The one question I like to ask that tells me everything about you, but no pressure at all. How much sleep do you get a night?
Oh, so on off days, I try to get at least 8 because I'm like, I need my sleep, whether, from my training background and, just make sure I develop my muscles and maintain them. I always need sleep. But on my days I'm traveling and wrestling, I mean, it all depends. Like sometimes we have to leave a show and we have a 3-hour drive and then we got to get up and train. So like it can range from 4 to 5 hours to like sometimes 7, depending on our day the next day,
Yeah.
But it does all depend.
And, and I'm curious, as a person who is constantly, on the move, on the go, how are there things that you do just to make yourself are there things that you do to make yourself to keep sane or not miss home as much?
For sure. Yeah, I think with this with this industry, it's very overstimulating, whether you're backstage or, doing other things on the side, like, even these interviews and, kind of building your brand like what I do. It's a lot. So when I'm home, the most important things I like to do are like, I live right by the beach, so I ride my bike to the beach, and it's very therapeutic for me because it's relaxing and I'm on my own time and I don't have to worry about who's watching or who's around. So that's like one of my favorite things. And also the gym, of course, too, because that's just like my first love and passion of like just going out and getting some, releasing some, stress and just kind of the feeling I get after, serotonin rush you get after you work out is, obviously undescribable. So.
Nice. And you know, yeah. Again, I was reading your bio. You're very passionate about fitness and exercise and all that good stuff. But you aren't afraid to be like, look, I have a YouTube channel where I like to eat stuff. All right, people.
Yep.
Uh, well, you know, after you know eating certain things, do you find yourself like, oh, okay, I need to go harder at the gym, or is it just about maintaining balance?
Yeah, my biggest thing is maintaining the balance of it, and also like, I grew up in a, Italian old school home where,
Mm.
my dad owns delis and restaurants, so I always was around really good food. So for me, it was such a, shock to go and eat grilled chicken and brown rice to compete when I was doing the bodybuilding. But now it's like I can do both. I kind of like went through all that hard work to like have a good base and
Hmm.
be able to maintain that, but also like know my body as well. So like if I feel like I've ate too much, within the last couple of days or whatever it is, I can jump back to where I want to be like within, 3 days, which is good to know. And I'm blessed and thankfully I have good genetics and all that too. And I train really hard, of course, as well. But, it's, it's definitely a struggle, but I've learned to kind of like maintain it and also have like a good balance where I know exactly, how to get back and where I want to be.
Okay. And thing I'm curious about is, you know, working in the WWE. You know, obviously you have to be pretty physical, but you also have to have the performance aspect side. Um, was that something that you know you were prepared for mentally and all that, or is that something that you had to learn along the way?
Yeah, everything I've kind of thrown myself into, I didn't really know much about it, to be honest. Like, I'm
Hmm.
not going to, sit here and pretend that I knew what it was going to be like. And
Right.
even with competing, I kind of was like, I don't know if I could do this, and I don't know if I know what I'm doing. But when they told me, like, no, you're going to do the Boston show back in, 2012 when I was competing, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I kind of just go with the flow with a lot of things. And,
Hmm.
knock on wood, it's kind of, you know, been in my favor, thankfully. And I kind of learn as I go. And of course, there's mistakes and things I would go back and change and obstacles I've been through. But I think that's all about it. And like that's like the learning process you go through. And I think everyone should go through that, those difficulties and those obstacles to kind of get to where they want to be. So, I wasn't expecting really a lot of it, but I kind of just went with it. And then I fell in love with wrestling, and ever, since then it was just like I just keep wanting to, you know, strive and break those barriers and break those goals that I have.
Okay. Yeah. No. It's as far as future stuff. What kind of future goals do you have set? Because you know, reading your resume, you're very again passionate about fitness, but you also have um, a lot of entrepreneurial ventures that you are going down. And I'm just thinking, like, what else would you like to do?
Yeah. Basically my main goal is kind of just creating a brand for when, this is all over and kind of even when it's going on, just to, keep expanding the brand and making it, global, and whether it's kind of mixing all, three types of industries, fitness, fashion, beauty.
Hmm.
I think I kind of have it all in that sense, and I really want to expand and create, a brand out of this. And I think also down the road, I look into, getting into acting, and whether it's television and commercials and stuff like that. I have, a lot of passion for that as well eventually. So that's my biggest thing right now, working on.
Getting all that, all word out, word of mouth out.
Exactly. Yep. Building my
That's
brand and just kind of expanding it to using the platform, obviously, the WWE that
yeah.
we have here, which is huge. So it's great.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. And to double back on the whole food thing, I'm curious. You know, and again, I was watching your YouTube channel where you go to different places and eat. You know, unique items. Is there one item that you know was truly unique to you, and you're like, I want this every time I come back to the city?
gosh. So, I mean, there's probably name a few, but
Yeah.
I'll narrow it down. As you know, Sonia Deville and I, we're both big foodies, and that's like one of the things we love to do when we travel. And I'd say New Orleans, actually, when we tried beignets for the first time, and we just fell in love. Like we just couldn't stop eating them, and then we were like, how are we ever going to come here and not eat beignets all day? Like they were just insane. They were so good. If I lived there and I walked by that area where I forget, Bourbon Street or wherever else it is, I forget, but we would eat them all the time.
It's like, who doesn't like sugary pillows of dough? Like, come on, really?
I know, exactly. Who doesn't? And that's why we started the whole donut thing, because it was, just basically who doesn't love donuts, pretty much,
And is there a crazy donut you've eaten? Like, have you ever had any of those, like, cheeseburger donuts or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, our favorite so far are, they were in Lafayette, Louisiana. They're called Meshy's Donuts. And they were amazing. It was like a hole-in-the-wall place, so, we kind of we weren't expecting them to be that good. But then when we were like, wow, they were just amazing.
Nice. And if there's one thing that I like on the podcast, it's a good horror story. And again, touching on the fact that, you do a lot of traveling. Do you have any travel horror stories?
Yeah, we have one, actually. This was when we were on Raw, kind of like a few months in, actually, on the main roster. We drove to, so we were, usually a live event weekend. The shows are kind of all within, at least under 300 miles or whatnot. So we drive to the next city, usually for the next show. And I guess, I forget exactly where it was, but we went to the wrong city. And it was actually, the venues had the same name. So, obviously, it wasn't that dumb, I guess, of us. A rookie mistake. But they had, they have, Wells Fargo, and, they have, certain, names of these big arenas. And I guess the two were the same. So when we Googled it, and it wasn't that far, it was kind of far, so we had to go. It was, a good, 2 hours. And we just were flying to get to the town. But anyway, the funny part about it was actually you know where it was? It was somewhere in Wisconsin, because we were eating cheese curds. Isn't it crazy that I remember it because of the food? I remember because of the food. Because what happened was we discovered cheese curds for the first time in Wisconsin, and we were eating them, and we were posting them on our social media. And not one person said because it was a couple hours before the show, you guys are in the wrong city. And we were supposed to be at TV's the next day, and that was where it was supposed to be. So we ended up pulling up, and he's like, "You guys are here early." And we're like, "What do you mean?" He's like, the show's tomorrow. We're like, what? So we noticed that we were at the wrong arena. So we had to drive to get to the show. And we're kind of rookies. So you can't really show up late. You look frowned upon.
Yeah.
So we had to drive. We ended up just flooring it, and we made it. And everyone, of course, was laughing at us and making fun of us. But it was a little rookie mistake, but it was also a little frightening. Okay, now we make sure when we look at those venues and those arenas that we got the right city.
And travel, even though it's nice because we have phones with technology built in them, it's also kind of like we have so much information. So I get it.
We rely too much on it though now too. So
right.
It's so easy when things just pop up when you search, the first two letters, but then you don't really look at anything else. So it's we're relying too much on technology nowadays.
I get it. And a question that popped in my head was right now. I'm curious, before you go out and do a match or do anything like that, what kind of headspace do you have to be in before? Are you the type of person that's chatting with everybody in the back, or are you just look, I need 5 minutes to myself?
Yeah, usually in the one that needs 5 minutes to myself. It's, whether it's going over my match in my head or if it's a promo, especially if it's a promo, I'm by myself for the majority of the time, just going over in my head. And I'm more of a, got to be by myself, and I get kind of easily distracted as well. So I go by myself and just, run it through my head a million times before I have it down. And so that's how I prepare.
Gotcha. Yeah, you're just in the corner, listening to 8 Mile, trying to hype yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
And of course, after you do the matches and all that, I'm assuming, and I don't want to assume, but I am going to assume that there's a level of soreness the next day.
Yeah, we definitely take a good amount of bumps and then whether it's you're training throughout the day as well too. So you definitely are a little sore for sure, but you gotta know your body and be able to take care of it and also know what you can and cannot do, So I'm pretty good when it comes to that stuff.
Gotcha. Because I was going to ask you if there are any good like sore remedies that you like to do just to,
Usually it's kind of just, I started doing yoga recently just to, make sure my body's getting the right stretching and kind of like for my own meditation purposes, but also pretty much just, taking care of myself and, whether it's cryotherapy or kind of massages. I make sure I get a massage a week, the chiropractor, so...
There you go. And of course, like you said, just knowing your body and all that good stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And beignets, lots of beignets. Have a beignet.
Yeah, lots of that, for sure. Need the carbs.
There we go. For the people at home who would like to keep up with everything that you do, follow you, all that good stuff on the online, of course, where can they do all that?
Yeah, so Instagram, it's at Mandy Sachs. Twitter, it's WWE_Mandy Rose. And then, check out our latest YouTube series. It's at Demandy's Donuts. And it's, basically you're going to be seeing a lot of different things. But behind the scenes of my tag team partner, Sonya Deville, and myself, traveling the world, eating and doing different adventures and workouts and whatnot. And, that's basically it, I think.
Right on. Mandy, thank you so much for taking time to chat with me. I know you're a busy person with a loaded schedule, so I really appreciate it.
Oh, of course. And also, I have a fitness app, too, that I left out. But it's called Fit with Mandy on the App Store. And it's basically just like a 12-week at-home program that people of all ages, skill levels, can do the program basically anywhere, which is really cool. It's a lot of high-intensity interval training. So that's another thing they can check out as well.
There you go. Get fit and learn about nutrition. I see no downsides to that.
It's all about balance.
But anytime you want to come back and chat, just say the word. I'd be happy to chat with you again.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. You do too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.